Welcome to Autonomy CEO Corner. I'm your host, Dennis Dicker. Today we'll be covering being a CEO offering home healthcare services, understanding the ISP, CEO Corner with Cow China, a case study with Ricardo, Cow China covering behaviors and disagreements in a community setting, and a demo navigating your local community and creating channels. Thank you. One of the questions that we get often is, what is a home or community-based agency? And it's not your typical service offering that most clinicians are used to. It is helping those age in place. You just don't want to help fix them or provide some type of therapy or solution for the short term. We want them to be able to age in place and not interact or with the local hospital as often as possible. Hospital costs are very expensive for insurances as well as families. So the goal is to help them age in place while ensuring their health and safety. And so local governments, they pay or they outsource those services to local agencies and pay them so that they can help consumers age in place. And so what I do or what I've done was I was able to experience what it's like to be a home healthcare agency provider. And then I used my skill set to build a solution to help me be a successful home healthcare provider, a home and community healthcare provider. And so I was fortunate and unfortunate enough to experience all the trials and tribulations that still to this day home healthcare agency owners go through, because they're not using a solution or they're unable to really meet all the needs of the consumers. And so that was actually one of the reasons why I stopped providing services, because the current system or the current service offering is very fragmented. If you're an agency owner, you'll be unable to really provide services to a community as a whole. You'll be so focused on just providing services to that consumer that you'll really be tapped out by the time you're trying to provide some type of services in a community setting or for other people in the community. And so what I've done was I built an infrastructure or a core application that allows you to provide value-based care and manage a home healthcare agency without the headache. And it'll allow you to provide home and community-based services. These types of home and community-based services does not always include providing therapy directly one-on-one with the consumer or client. It includes hiring someone from entry level to provide some type of support services to help a consumer in their activities of daily living. And these activities of daily living could be shopping, meal planning, transportation, helping them get on a local transportation to get to a volunteer opportunity, anything of the like. And so as a clinician, you'll be able to oversee those services and get paid for it at the same time. And by being the CEO, you will be receiving passive income because you're not required to provide services directly all the time. So your role as a CEO is typically to manage the day-to-day services, and using autonomy, that's done basically for you. So you're able to oversee the entire operation from your mobile device. So that's basically what I did for years and years. I managed a home healthcare agency from my iPhone. And so you'll be able to do the same. You won't have to worry about as far as making sure you're in compliance, because autonomy does that for you. That's the hardest part. That's what most agencies hire administrative staff for. So that's eliminated. And so that allows you to save more money and have a higher gross profit margin. And so on a day-to-day basis, it's pretty much up to you. You'll receive a summary of services, of documentation services in your email, where you'll then be able to go into the application and review that documentation. But you're not required to actually review until you actually go out on site. Most of the reviewing is pre-screened for you. The staff are trained based on state regulations to document in the right format, in the right way, so that you can quickly screen and approve such documentation. And it will not take long at all, because staff, they complete quick notes throughout the day and then summarize at the end of their shift or at the end of the time that they're providing services. So the application is able to quickly review and screen to make sure documentation is done right and appropriately to make your job 10 times easier. So as the CEO, you're able to quickly focus on care delivery and actual improvement of care, which is the ultimate goal. And so home and community-based services are not just for adults with autism or intellectual disabilities. There are many older adults that have chronic illnesses that need supports. All right, so we'll be going over the basics of an ISP to help you understand what is included in the ISP. And overall, it helps anybody support that consumer, no matter where they're located. It covers the rights and dignities of the consumer, the individual control, meaning what they can do and cannot do, community membership, as far as how can they participate in the community, do they have a job, relationships, their social capital, who do they know, who do they don't know in their local community, as far as their family and friends, who can they call on in case of emergency. These are all important things to help a consumer with intellectual disabilities or autism really age in place. As far as personal goals and accomplishments, these types of updates are updated frequently. If not every 6 months, it's at least yearly during the ISP meeting. And then the details as far as personal well-being, the health and safety to help this consumer really age in place. And I just added a list to this blog post, at Autonomy, and it's a list of the actual details of the individual support plan, the ISP, and how we manage it in the Autonomy application. And so you could scroll through this list at your leisure, and please ask questions of each detailed category and how we're able to manage those details ongoing. Again, right now, a typical ISP is between 30. I've seen some ISPs that were 70 pages long that included a behavioral support plan. And so it's really difficult to train a direct support professional on all these needs of a consumer. I call that dead data, because someone has to continuously read updates to see the changes of a consumer. And then that direct support professional is liable for everything in that ISP when they're providing services, which is extremely difficult. Right? And as far as updating an ISP, provider or team members that of management level can suggest changes to that ISP. And so most of those changes in the ISP will probably come in the like and admire, because those can change often. While you're providing services, or when the direct support professional is providing services, they can give or document suggestions that you can then follow up on and then share with the care team. So we make it easy using autonomy to document those suggestions so that it's on the record and we can easily share with the care team if we suggest something so that it's not forgotten about. Another question we have was, who reviews the ISP? As far as who reviews the ISP, you'll continuously review the ISP, and we make it easy for you. When you first receive that referral, we create trainings based on that ISP. So we follow a model of set up once, continuously update and train. By setting up the ISP and create trainings in our learning management system, we're able to continuously train people in the local community of where that consumer lives on the generic needs of that consumer while still maintaining HIPAA compliance. And so, for example, if they are looking for a job in that local community and we want to train a potential coworker or supervisor, we're now able to do that. And that also increased the social capital of the consumer. It helps them participate in activities in their local community. So ongoing, you're continuously reviewing the ISP. And the ISP is continuously updated based on what you bill. So say if you're billing 20 hours a week of services, those hours are updated in the ISP under plan administration. And the goals, as far as the goals that are in the ISP, let's see those goals. As far as the goals that are in the ISP, they are continuously updated based on the progress that's being made between the consumer and the direct support professional. And if you have any suggestions with any changes, for example, there could be a goal that the consumer wants to get a job. Maybe before that goal is achieved, there needs to be another goal in place to help them train for that job. And so you're totally welcome to suggest those changes in the ISP if it's needed in order for that consumer to reach their ultimate goal. And again, the ISP is an individual support plan. It allows someone to age in place for a long period of time. It's not a plan for a week or two. It's a week for years on end. And it includes their entire history that a consumer receiving adult services, what types of providers they work with, where they lived, the types of medications that they were on. It's a complete history of not just the medical history, of their support history as well, so that you get a clear understanding before you start providing services for that consumer, as well as being able to understand their likes and dislikes over time. By providing services with autonomy, we're able to continuously update that ISP in a real-time manner, where traditionally, yes, most states are starting to have better systems, but still in this day and age, most ISPs are only updated once a year. And when providing services, it's very difficult to follow an ISP that's only updated once a year. So when building autonomy, I made sure that anyone, as far as part of the agency, you're able to update the ISP and share it as part of the record that you made the suggestion to the ISP based on documentation um, between the DSP and while providing services to the consumer. All right, any more questions? Again, follow this link to view this blog post. We shared it, I believe, in 2017. So I believe everything is still relevant. And it talks about how the ISP helps the consumer really transition and be as independent as possible. That's the goal of the ISP. Without the ISP, it would be very difficult, and it would essentially be a black box when receiving a referral. And how to, where to start as far as assessing the needs of the consumer and providing those services. We use the ISP as a baseline and then figure out if there are any changes at that point when receiving the referral.
What are examples of daily activities I am looking to offer to help adults build their social network and increase their social capital? So we know it's not just about social skills, it's about building a social network in your community. Therefore, the types of activities we are planning to offer must be individualized to the person's preferences, but also provide two types of opportunities. First, opportunities to practice social skills in a variety of settings with a variety of people. And second, opportunities and experiences that may highlight existing or help identify new social or leisure preferences. Hello, my name is Kyle China with Pro Social Services. We're going to talk about functional communication training and how it can be used to help people have better conversations and reduce their distress when they are in conversation with others. We're going to use a clinical vignette of an individual named Ricardo. He's 35 years old. He lives in a group home right now, and he wants to move out on his own and have a family. Ricardo has good communication skills, although he becomes distressed when he has a disagreement with somebody else or he thinks that they're lying to him. So with functional communication training, we would want to identify the function of the distress behavior. When Ricardo's having a conversation and he becomes distressed, when somebody lies to him, is the function of that to get the person to tell him the truth? Is the function of that to get him away from the person or the person away from him so he doesn't have to deal with them anymore? If we can figure that out, we can help Ricardo learn a functionally equivalent alternative behavior, such as requesting more information from the person that might help him understand more where they're coming from, determine if they really are lying or not, and see if it's a miscommunication. So in this case, Ricardo has good verbal skills. When he becomes distressed in a conversation, the functional communication skill that we want to teach him is to request more information so that he can make better decisions. Second, if he's having a disagreement with somebody, he can use that same strategy, requesting more information. But we'd also possibly want to teach him to ask for a break. If he's having a disagreement with a roommate, good functionally equivalent alternative behavior could be to say, hey, I need some time to think about this. Let's talk about it later. So these are some ways that you can help an individual learn to have better conversational skills that are also functional. It's not just kind of small talk. And finally, when somebody becomes distressed, we can help them learn functional communication skills, but also they may need a way to soothe themselves or calm themselves down, or, you know, if I take a break from a situation and I'm upset, I may look at my phone. I may engage in other activities like exercise or something. So helping Ricardo build skills that he can turn to when he is distressed as a break or a way to soothe himself is also part of the equation for helping somebody learn to tolerate ambiguous and distressful situations in conversation with others. Thank you.